Welcome to Royal Secret. In a historic twist echoing through the walls of Buckingham Palace and the hallowed chambers of Westminster, the British monarchy and Parliament have drawn the line. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, have officially been stripped of their royal titles. But how did it come to this? And why now? This isn't just another tabloid headline. This is the real deal. For the first time in modern royal history, the United Kingdom's Parliament, siding with none other than King Charles III, has made a seismic decision that sends shockwaves through the monarchy's very foundation. It's the moment many have predicted, but few thought would ever come to pass. In a rare alignment between the Crown and Commons, the Sussexes have now been formally unseated from the privileges, prestige, and power that come with their once proud titles. They're no longer His Royal Highness and Her Royal Highness. They're no longer the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, in the way the institution recognizes. It's not just symbolic, it's personal, it's political, and it's punishment. From Hollywood to heartbreak, the downfall begins. The beginning of this end didn't start with a speech or a royal decree, it started years ago with a choice. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's decision to step back from royal duties in 2020, dubbed Megxit, marked the first crack in the palace walls. But few foresaw how far those cracks would spread. What followed was a relentless media saga. Oprah interviews, Netflix documentaries, tell-all memoirs, podcast reveals, private family squabbles aired publicly, and allegations that rocked the monarchy's reputation to its core. Through it all, King Charles remained silent, until now. Behind closed doors, the tension had reached a breaking point. According to insider leaks from both royal aides and parliamentary sources, discussions around the Sussex titles had been simmering for months. But the final push reportedly came after a wave of recent events, some embarrassing, others politically damning, that left the monarchy with no choice. While speculation has been rampant, several key incidents are believed to have fueled the decision. Harry's UK court battles. Prince Harry's legal crusades against the British government, particularly over his taxpayer-funded security, infuriated not only the Crown but also MPs across party lines. It painted the picture of a royal who demanded the privileges of monarchy without fulfilling its responsibilities. Meghan's media mishaps. From her polarizing Time 100 summit appearance to new business ventures framed under royal branding, Meghan's public image, often styled in regal flair, continued to draw criticism for exploiting titles she had technically stepped away from. Reports of attempted trademark filings for Archewell under royal-sounding names did not help. The Netflix fallout. The docuseries, while a commercial success, was deemed a disaster diplomatically. Within the royal household, it was interpreted as an attack, a betrayal cloaked in soft music and well-edited pain. Particularly damaging were accusations of institutional racism and emotional neglect. King Charles's private breaking point. Though publicly composed, sources suggest Charles felt blindsided and disrespected by Harry's memoir Spare, which exposed painful family rifts and even accused Queen Camilla of leaking stories to the press. Enough was enough. The legal mechanism. How Parliament and the King worked together. This wasn't a hasty snap judgment. Stripping royal titles is legally complex. The monarch can remove HRH status, but peerage titles like Duke of Sussex are enshrined in law, requiring parliamentary action. That's where things turned historic. Behind-the-scenes efforts intensified in late 2024. Senior MPs from both the Conservative and Labour benches reportedly agreed that inaction was no longer tenable. A cross-party motion, quietly tabled and shrouded in secrecy, was introduced to revoke the Sussex peerages under the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917, a century-old law originally intended to punish German-aligned royals during World War I. While rarely invoked, the law gives Parliament the power to strip dukedoms from those deemed to have brought disgrace to the Crown or the country. And it passed, with shocking speed. The moment it happened, a crown, a decree, and a nation divided. In a televised address unlike any other, King Charles, stoic and measured, acknowledged the decision. The Crown exists not for itself, but for the people it serves. When our sacred institutions are questioned, we must act not in anger, but in duty. It was the closest he had ever come to condemning his youngest son. Though he stopped short of mentioning Harry or Meghan by name, the message was loud and clear. Simultaneously, Parliament released a joint statement confirming that the Titles Deprivation Act had been formally applied, effectively revoking the Sussex dukedom and associated privileges. Their HRH styles had already been shelved since 2020. Now, even their territorial titles were gone. As of that moment, Harry and Meghan were no longer royals, not legally, not publicly, not institutionally. Just Harry and Meghan. Public reaction. Cheers, cheers, and a royal reckoning. The United Kingdom woke up divided. On one side, there was triumph. Social media erupted with trending hashtags like #Justice for the Crown and #ByeBye Sussex. For those who viewed the couple as exploiters of royal prestige for personal gain, this was poetic justice. On the other, sorrow. Many sympathized with Harry, seeing him as a troubled son caught in a centuries-old machine. Others saw the move as punitive and cruel, arguing that the royal family was suppressing voices who dared to speak out. Outside Buckingham Palace, reactions ranged from cheers to candlelit vigils. The monarchy, once thought to be soft and forgiving, had sent a clear message: there are consequences for crossing the line. When the crown closes its doors, even royalty is left in the cold. The royal rug has officially been pulled out from under Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And behind the iron gates of Montecito, California, where multi-million-dollar palm trees whisper secrets of fame and fortune, something extraordinary is happening. Silence. Deafening, strategic silence. There was no immediate press release from the Sussexes. No Instagram statement. No Netflix trailer. No Spotify special. But insiders close to the couple described a different kind of chaos, one of disbelief, fury, and a growing sense of betrayal. Because for all their criticism of the monarchy, Harry and Meghan never believed the institution would go this far. And certainly not with such united force from both Parliament and the King himself. Sources from within the Sussex household claim that when news of the parliamentary motion broke, Meghan was shaken but livid. One close associate alleged that she was stunned that such a centuries-old system still had the power to reach across the Atlantic and legislate away her identity. Prince Harry, for his part, is said to have taken the decision as a brutal finality, a sign that there is no coming back. That the bridge to his former life has not only burned but been blown to ashes by royal artillery and signed by parliamentary ink. And yet, even amid personal shock, there were whispers of preparation. Their legal team had reportedly been monitoring debates in the House of Commons and House of Lords for weeks. Meghan, we're told, had grown increasingly concerned that public opinion in the UK had turned so sharply that her title might eventually be seen as more liability than legacy. Still, few believed it would come to this. Losing the HRH was one thing. Losing the title of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, that was generational erasure. That was institutional exile. The U.S. media eruption. In the United States, the news exploded across all major networks. Morning shows ran with bold headlines: Prince no more. Royal divorce. The Crown cuts ties with California royals. Duchess dethroned. Commentators were split. American royal experts framed the move as retribution by a wounded monarchy seeking to punish the couple for years of speaking out. Others, particularly those from more conservative royalist circles, called it long overdue. The View, CNN, Fox News, and even late-night hosts turned the stripping of titles into both moral discourse and entertainment gold. For once, Harry and Meghan weren't on the offensive, they were the story. International response: a monarchy on trial or on track. But the ripple effects weren't limited to Britain and the United States. Around the world, the decision stirred fierce debate. In Canada, where the Sussexes briefly lived during their transition, commentators questioned the monarchy's ability to modernize while still holding onto punitive traditions. In Australia, Republican sentiments surged again, with media outlets using the moment to call for a referendum on whether to sever ties with the monarchy. Across Europe, monarchists in Denmark, Spain, and Sweden watched with a mixture of curiosity and concern, wondering whether similar mechanisms could be triggered in their own kingdoms. Even the Commonwealth realms, where Charles is still king, issued cautious statements. In Jamaica and Barbados, the event reignited conversations about colonialism, inherited privilege, and whether a monarchy thousands of miles away should still wield symbolic power. What about their children, Archie and Lilibet, caught in the crossfire? Perhaps the most emotionally charged aspect of this entire saga lies with two names, Archie and Lilibet. Born in America, raised without the daily glare of British paparazzi, and now, cut off from the titles that were once considered their birthright. When Queen Elizabeth II passed, a constitutional technicality allowed Archie and Lilibet to be styled as Prince and Princess under the 1917 letters patent. But with Parliament's move and King Charles's endorsement, those designations may now be moot, or at least unofficial. Sources say Meghan is particularly devastated by this development. For years, she alleged that royal forces had denied her children full status. Now, that possibility is dead. Forever. And yet, some insiders in the palace say that may have been the point. You cannot separate the future from the present, one royal aide reportedly said. Stripping the parents of titles sends a message about the institution's stance on the children, too. This raises uncomfortable questions. Will Archie and Lilibet ever visit the UK as royals? Will they ever appear on the Buckingham Palace balcony again? Will they even be invited? What's next for the Sussex brand? For Harry and Meghan, titles weren't just ceremonial, they were brand equity. From Netflix to book deals, their value was intrinsically tied to their royal proximity. Now, with that official connection severed, there's uncertainty. Netflix executives reportedly expressed concern behind closed doors, asking whether future projects would still carry the same weight without the titles attached. Archewell, their nonprofit and media foundation, now faces branding challenges. Can it be marketed as a royal-adjacent initiative without risking legal or ethical backlash? Merchandising opportunities once floated under the Duke and Duchess name may now violate intellectual property rules around royal insignia. Legal advisors are now scrambling to determine whether the couple can continue using the Sussex branding in commercial ventures, or whether it constitutes a violation of trademark laws now that the titles are formally removed by Parliament. Royal family reaction. A deafening royal silence. What of Prince William, Princess Kate, Queen Camilla? Not a word. The senior royals have maintained strict silence. No comment, no leaks, no gestures. But palace observers believe this isn't mere restraint. It's strategy. A total blackout to prevent media firestorms. And more importantly, to show unity. This wasn't William's move. This was Parliament and the King. But by refusing to dissent or defend, William has shown his allegiance. The message is unmistakable. The line has been drawn, and he stands on the side of the crown. King Charles's gamble. A modern monarchy or a dangerous precedent? Critics warn that this could backfire on the king. That using Parliament to strip family members of titles might appear authoritarian or punitive, especially in a nation still grappling with its imperial past. Supporters, however, argue that this is exactly what modern leadership looks like: boundaries, accountability, and action. For King Charles, this was a calculated gamble to protect the monarchy's credibility. After decades of scandals, from Diana's tragic death to Prince Andrew's disgrace, the king is determined that his reign will not be defined by chaos. And he knows that Harry and Meghan's headlines won't stop unless he stops them first. This is royal reputation management at the highest level. And it came with a heavy price, family. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.